Welcome, dear viewers, to Behind the Lore, your portal to the fascinating world of myths. We delve into stories that have influenced societies, tracing their evolution and enduring influences. We navigate from ancient tales to current folklore. Today we explore a beloved children's tradition, the magical tale of the Tooth Fairy. We'll enter a world where the ordinary meets the mystical, and every tooth has a unique story. Prepare to journey where dreams become reality. The of the Tooth Fairy awaits. Let's explore who is this charming character known as the mysterious Tooth Fairy. Have you ever wondered about the origin of the Tooth Fairy? Who is she, and how did she become a part of our childhood? Picture a mystic forest at night, illuminated by glowing fireflies. Amidst this enchanting setting, a whimsical fairy, delicate as a moonbeam, flutters about, leaving a trail of sparkling dust in her wake. Our fairy is on a mission, and we follow her journey as she ventures into the quiet serenity of a child's bedroom. A child, having recently lost a baby tooth, has carefully tucked it under their eyes sparkle with anticipation as they fall into a dream-filled sleep. With a gentleness that can only belong to a fairy, she reaches under the pillow and replaces the tooth with a shiny coin. By morning, the child wakes to find a surprise, a token from the elusive Tooth Fairy herself. This charming tradition, rich in its simplicity, has journeyed through time, subtly evolving as it's passed from one generation to the next. But where did it all begin? Who is the Tooth Fairy, and how did she become an integral part of our collective childhood folklore? These are the questions we seek to unravel. Now ready yourself for this magical journey as we delve into enchanting history of the Tooth Fairy. The scene ends with our fairy flying out of the window, disappearing into the night sky, leaving us with a sense of wonder and curiosity. The Tooth Fairy's story begins not in the recent past, but in the ancient world. Interestingly, our dental sprite's history is deeply ingrained in a diverse array of traditions, myths, and rituals that span across different cultures and timelines. Let's go back in time to the era of the Vikings. Now, Vikings were not only fearsome warriors but were also surprisingly superstitious. They had a peculiar practice of carrying children's teeth into battle. To them, these tiny enamel nuggets were not just discarded body parts but potent good luck charms. Believing in their power to ensure victory, the Vikings would string these teeth together and wear them into the heart of the fray. From the blustering cold of the Viking lands, we whisk away to the medieval European landscape, where another fascinating tradition took root. As their children's milk teeth fell out, parents would bury them in the ground. This ritual, oddly enough, was not just about dental hygiene or a way to mark their child's growth. It was a protective measure, a charm against evil forces. The medieval folks believed that if a witch were to get her hands on a child's tooth, she could gain control over the child. So burying the teeth was a way of safeguarding the child's innocence and freedom. In Spain and other Hispanic cultures, a little mouse called Ratoncito Pérez or El Ratón de los Dientes took center stage. This rodent, much like our fairy, would exchange gifts for lost teeth placed under pillows. This tradition, dating back to the late 19th century, was popularized by a Spanish priest named Luis Coloma. He wrote a story about Ratoncito Pérez for the then 8-year-old King Alfonso X of Spain when the young monarch lost a tooth. So, from tooth talismans to tooth burials, the path was being paved for the arrival of our beloved Tooth Fairy. Each of these ancient customs, steeped in folklore and superstition, contributed to the evolution of the enchanting entity we know and love today. The Tooth Fairy, it seems, has more profound roots than one might initially think. Fast forward to the 20th century, and the Tooth Fairy, as we know her, finally takes flight. The earliest printed reference to this charming sprite can be traced back to the early 1900s, in a Chicago Daily Tribune's Household Hints column. It was here that the Tooth Fairy, akin to the Santa Claus or Easter Bunny, was first introduced as a bringer of gifts, specifically for children who had lost their baby teeth. As the decades rolled on, this whimsical tradition began to gain traction. Parents across the United States and beyond began adopting the Tooth Fairy lore into their households. The idea was simple, yet enchanting. A child loses a tooth, places it under their pillow, and wakes up the next morning to find a small gift or coin in its place. But how did the image of the Tooth Fairy evolve? Well, there's no one-size-fits-all answer to that. Some imagine her as a pixie with a sparkling wand, others as a benevolent fairy godmother, and some simply as a kind, unseen presence. This flexibility in her image allowed for the Tooth Fairy to be easily integrated into diverse households, accommodating varying imaginations and cultural backgrounds. What truly solidified the Tooth Fairy's place in popular culture, however, was her role in children's literature and media. From books, to cartoons, to movies, the Tooth Fairy was often portrayed as a gentle and caring character, easing children's fears about losing their teeth. Yet, the Tooth Fairy tradition was more than just a fun rite of passage. It served a vital purpose. Losing a tooth can be a frightening experience for a child. The pain, the blood, the gaping hole left behind, it's all rather daunting. But enter the Tooth Fairy, and this scary experience transforms into a magical adventure. It gives children something to look forward to, a silver lining in an otherwise intimidating event. And thus, the Tooth Fairy flutters into the hearts and homes of children, turning a potentially scary experience into a magical adventure. Nowadays, the Tooth Fairy is more popular than ever, but not without some interesting twists and turns. This whimsical tradition has evolved in fascinating ways, reflecting societal changes and economic trends. In the United States, the average bounty for a lost tooth has seen quite the inflation over the years. While kids in the 70s might have woken up to a shiny quarter under their pillow, today's children can expect a little more bang for their tooth. According to the latest Tooth Fairy poll by Delta Dental, the average cash gift in 2023 is around $4.70. That's quite a leap from the modest 25 cents of yesteryears. But it's not just about the money. The Tooth Fairy tradition has taken on various forms across the globe, each with its own unique flair. In Spain, for example, children eagerly await a visit from Ratoncito Perez, a tiny mouse who collects lost teeth from under pillows. Meanwhile, in South Africa, children place their fallen tooth in a slipper for a magical mouse to find. And did you know there's an official day set aside to celebrate this dental deity? That's right. Every February 28th, the world pays homage to our nocturnal visitor on National Tooth Fairy Day. The Tooth Fairy has also fluttered her way into popular culture. From starring in her own movies to making guest appearances in children's books, she's become a celebrated figure, symbolizing a rite of passage in a child's life. In the end, the Tooth Fairy is more than just a fable. She's a symbol of growing up, a comforter in the face of change, and a spark of enchantment in the ordinary. Whether she's leaving behind a shiny coin or a glittering note, the Tooth Fairy continues to bring a touch of magic to children's lives. We hope you enjoyed this magical journey through the history of the Tooth Fairy. It's your turn now. We'd love to hear your own Tooth Fairy experiences. Did you receive a coin, or a note, or perhaps a visit from a different character altogether? Share your tales in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Behind the Lore for more fascinating explorations of myths and legends. Until next time, keep exploring the magic in the everyday.